It's time for Sustainable Living with Glenn Boblitz, the show that helps you be prepared to care for your family regardless of the circumstances that may come your way. Now, here's your host for today, Mark Lamb.
Well, after a couple weeks of hiatus time for my friend over here, Glenn Boblitz, we're back with you on the podcast, Sustainable Living Made Easy. And Glenn, since we were here last, a lot has happened in the world. Some of it good, some of it not so good.
Yeah, well, we were handed a crap sandwich here, and Trump's going to try to do the best he can, of course, and we're all going to have to. And there's a lot of things wrong that we're not going to get the information on.
Right.
And agriculture is one of them.
Right.
We've been hit, whether you know it or not. China pulled a fast one and set us up. Mm-hmm. I don't know whether it was helped out by our side in this current administration or they just slicked us from, Either way, China has said, no, we're not going to buy your grains this year.
Wow.
Now, this is after our farmers spent an entire year prepping the ground, mm-hmm. paying for all the fertilizer, the seed, right. tending the ground, do all that, the harvest, the curing process for all these grains, and we're getting ready to ship, millions and millions of tons over because they ordered it.
Mm-hmm.
They go, nope, we're going to use Venezuela, we're going to use Argentina, we're going to use, and it just devastated our agriculture.
Right. And
they're still in shock. They
right.
have no, and here's the other thing is we have no idea who sold it to them
mm-hmm.
because it's in the BRIC system in which we can't see what it was sold for. When it went through the IMF,
right.
We all knew. In fact, we generated the contracts for them. We did all the paperwork. That's
right.
how we do it. But now there's, I think it's North Korea, India, Venezuela, Argentina, Ukraine, Russia,
mm-hmm.
all the bad guys.
Yeah.
They all got together and said, guess what? We're going to get rid of the dollar.
Yeah, that's
one
way to get it there.
Right, and they just said, we'll just trade among ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
I'll accept the yuan, and you take the pesos.
Right.
And they just cut America out. Well, we've been pretty arrogant for so long,
mm-hmm.
and there's been a lot of
we've been asleep at the wheel.
Mismanagement.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's much sleep as a wheel as coercion.
Oh, okay.
And maybe some secondary benefits on the backside.
Mm-hmm.
That kind. The world has gone corrupt,
mm-hmm.
and it's all about the dollar. It's all about me, 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 me.
Right.
We are no different.
Mm-hmm.
We're not community anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Used to be very tight communities, and we're just not. We're too busy working our butts off trying to just pay our bills,
right.
and it's separated us. Then they separated us even more through whatever means that they've thrown at us, race.
Right.
When we know it's a lie.
Right.
Now, is there bad people in every race? You better believe it. There's good people there, too. So,
what the word of the year for this year was? Webster picks a word.
Right.
Polarization was the word of 2024.
Well, absolutely.
And we
divide
know.
And conquer. I mean, this is not a new concept here, folks.
The media and your politicians' number one job, not to make sure you're okay, it's to polarize you.
Right. It's to break out the demographics that
mm-hmm.
benefit you and destroy the ones that don't.
Right.
And that's what politics is all about,
mm-hmm.
which is stupid.
It is stupid.
Rather than have the entire country working together, they said, nope, just our group.
So let's talk about some of the trickle-down effect. Those farmers now, they're stuck.
Yeah, they don't know what they're going to do with all this grain.
Mm-hmm.
Now, for sure, there's not going to be a shortage here in the United States of
right.
wheat, corn, soybean, all that kind of stuff. That's fact.
But it's going to drive the price down, isn't it?
Well, it'll absolutely flatline it.
Mm-hmm.
And these grains in this kind of volume and this kind of storage is not meant to stay there.
Right.
it is not a good way to store these grains. So they will go bad if they can't dump them somewhere else to get them processed to be turned into some food product.
Right.
They'll end up throwing them out.
Yeah.
They'll bury them. Whatever is going to happen to it, as the next year goes on, they're going to get to the bottom and go, we got to throw this away. Now, how much? I don't know.
Right.
They may turn a lot of corn into ethanol. You know, they could do that, but it doesn't make up for the monetary loss.
Sure.
Now, we have had a bad time of competing in the world market on agriculture just because things cost so much here. Fertilizer cost is through the roof. Labor costs are through the roof. Equipment cost, outrageous. So we're already operating not at a loss, but at a very bad position in the market. So having this loss like this is going to wipe out farmers. Now, we've heard that statement many times, but never like this. We're talking the big farms are going to get hit. So all the bad, what do? You better go find your local farmer because the following year, those big farmers not going to be able to do it. They are hurting that bad. So after that, then there's going to be a shortage because there's not going to be as many farmers.
Right.
Now, there's going to be a rebound of somebody buying them farms up, and I wonder who that might
Corporations.
be. Who knows? I would say it's going to be BlackRock, those kind of people that
Source.
have just
Right.
trillions of dollars.
Sure.
We don't even talk millions anymore.
Right.
We went right past billions and into trillions these people have. And they'll buy it up for pennies on a dollar.
Right.
But you have local farmers that have been growing for themselves and growing for their little farm, and they raise, 10, 20 cattle and keep one, sell some more, and pays for some of the expenses. That's how it's done. I suggest you do that. I suggest you plow up your backyard and put in a garden. If nothing else, just for the economic benefit, not to mention nutrition benefit. Because a lot of these farmers are growing vegetables, food, other than just grains. They don't grow just grains. There are some that do, but most of them have cattle farms and dairy farms, all that. They use that money that would have gone to the overseas sales to run the rest of their farm. So I really think that you should actively seek out county farmers. And you can go to your local county government and say, give me a list of all the farms. You can actually get that.
Okay.
And most of the time it'll tell you what they produce. Now, you're going to have to put out some effort. The days of convenience may be over for us. I'm not sure what that's going to do economically for the whole country. The entire bubble of economics. I'm not sure what that's going to do.
Right.
But I do know that there's a lot of products that are made from corn and all that kind of stuff.
Do you see this as a long, because they play the long game. We tend to play the short game.
Correct.
Here. This is the long-term plan to squeeze us out.
Oh, absolutely.
We were the breadbasket of the world. Squeeze us out and then watch us just wither on the vine.
Well, we've got a big idea that Trump's going to come in and bring manufacturing back. You need to look at where the raw materials come from to do any kind of manufacturing, especially like computers and chips like that. You need a lot of minerals. Well, guess who holds most of those minerals, and that's China.
Well, they're leveraging countries like India and others. Hey, we'll come in and put your infrastructure in, but we need that over there.
Absolutely, and that's what they've done for the past 20 years.
Right.
says we're here to help when it benefits them 10 times more.
Sure.
Until they don't need you anymore. When they get you dependent, that's when they really poke you in the eye.
Right.
And today's the day. I don't think we're ready for that. I don't think we're ready for the economic downturn especially for agriculture. They're just not set up for it. They were vulnerable to start with.
Sure.
And that's what they seen, and that's what they did, and they took advantage of it. Now, whether Trump can soften the blow, I don't know.
Yeah.
Usually we would turn to Europe and say, we have all this grain. How about we sell it to you really cheap? Well, they're on fire.
Right. They're being overrun by immigrants.
They have so much crap at their feet right now. They can't barely survive themselves just with their own problems. Well, it seems to me the whole world's got problems that is threatening to take them all out.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, this was what greed and just lack of community and lack of goodwill towards man.
Right. Yeah.
You can see where this has led us. We lost our moral compass, so everybody's lost.
Yeah.
So I suggest that you find yourself again, find your neighbor, find your family, and bring them tighter.
Yeah.
Because you're going to need them. You can't do the things that we talk about, starting our own agricultural community in your neighborhood. You can't do it by yourself. It's just you're not equipped to, or you just hadn't had to do it before. The knowledge gap is there. We've always gone to Food Line and Kroger's and gotten all our food. Well, this may be a problem. If nothing else, it's going to be too high price. It's going to price itself out of the market, just like the car and truck industry has done.
Right.
They are in serious trouble,
oh my
too.
Gosh. Right.
So everything we kind of talk about is trouble here, self-inflicted. So we're going to have to do the correction, and it's going to have to start at a basic level, and there's nothing more basic than food, shelter, and water.
Right.
So here we are.
Yeah.
And that's what we're talking about today. If you haven't had a garden in the past, you might want to start one. In fact, you better start one. And that's what I'm telling you. Get some help from somebody. There's so many websites out there and Facebook groups, and get in these groups and start learning.
Networking with people.
Yeah, and it doesn't take very long to figure out that everybody's looking for that information.
Right.
I can't believe that there's so many people out there that on their Facebook groups that have the same name,
right,
or very similar as what we do. Sustainable living.
Right.
There's just so many of it, and 3 years ago it was not like that.
Yeah.
So that tells you where we're headed here and what people's thinking is. So, get on these things, start researching it, start listening and doing podcasts. Turn the TV off. My gosh, you're not going to get nothing out of it anyway.
True.
I mean, there's just so much crap out there that's not worth even looking at.
Right.
So educate yourself, and that's what we're going to talk about today. And one of this subject is it's been pretty popular for the past month, and that was butchering.
Okay.
Everybody's butchered a hog or a pig or a beef here recently, and we'll get into that.
All right, let's take a break here, and then we'll unpack that. We'll slaughter that, pack it up, and then indulge in it. We're with Glenn Baublitz right now. It's Sustainable Living Made Easy.
Get ready for a new soundtrack for your life. Doc Rock, Smith Mountain Lake. It's music that'll take away your troubles for a while.
That's what I'm talking about!
Wake up with Janet and Mark on the Morning Jam. They'll keep you informed and encouraged, and we all need more of that.
You say jam?
You're invited to be a part of the Doc Rock family, your feel-good station. Doc Rock, Smith Mountain Lake.
We're back with more Sustainable Living with Glenn Boblitz. Be sure to look for Sustainable Living on Facebook for even more information and follow-up conversations with other members. Now, here's your host, Mark Lamb.
Back with Glenn Boblitz. Glenn, I know we've talked about butchering in the past, not long ago, actually. We've had some variations on butchering. How are we talking about it, and what angle are we taking with it today?
Well, bacon seems to be a real hot subject on Facebook at the moment. Everybody's got their own recipe.
Okay.
Everybody's got their own way of doing it.
Right.
You got the Carolina version where they dry pack it in salt.
Okay.
And that's how it's done. And that removes the moisture and starts the preservation process and all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And, but a lot of people then talk about sausages and
Right.
there's so many different kind of charcuteries.
Right.
And these are not cheap items.
No, they're not.
Bacon's not a cheap item anymore. I mean, really good bacon, especially homemade bacon, that's pricey.
Yeah.
But you can do it on your own. I mean, hams, everybody has probably had a little piece of ham, maybe Thanksgiving or coming up in Christmas. That seems to be a Christmas thing. Who makes it? Well, Smithfield does most of them,
And they got bought.
and well,
Are they
China-
are they foreign owned? Is that
yeah,
true?
that's China. Well, I think there's 3 major packing houses now, and China owns 2 of them.
Wow.
I think that may be bad.
Yeah, I think so.
And here's an item, and I have not bought a piece of pork in a year.
Mm-hmm.
Now, why is that? Not because I butcher my own, but because what they're vaccinating with.
Oh, okay. They're
That's
putting the mRNA.
mRNA vaccine in which you ingest in your body, and now you have it.
Right.
Now, am I a conspiracy theorist on that? You better believe it.
Mm-hmm.
Because I listen to what the doctors say about this spike protein.
Right.
It's not good, folks.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, a lot of people didn't take the jab, so they're going to get it to us somehow.
Right.
And that's my conspiracy for today. But
Right.
regardless of that, I don't trust them.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not that I'm conspiratorial here. It's I don't trust them.
Mm-hmm.
They have a foreign substance that they're going to put into. I heard a doctor tell on the radio, if you have a transplant of some type, kidney, heart, lung, whatever,
Right.
and they're really good at this, as soon as you wake up, what do? They immediately start giving you rejection drugs because your body knows that they just put something in you
Foreign,
that is
right.
foreign.
Right.
So you'll have this immune response.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to take that the rest of your life
Wow.
in order to survive.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what do you think a vaccine is? It is a foreign body.
It's
that's
a
put in-
repellent.
I'm just saying, folks.
Yeah.
That's my reason. And if you decided to take the shot or you decided to eat pork, that's your business.
Right.
I'm not going to throw rocks at you. It's tough enough without people like me throwing rocks at something you do. That's your business.
Right.
So, but for me and my household, this is what we're doing.
Gotcha.
We're butchering our own.
Mm-hmm.
We're finding pork that has not been vaccinated with that stuff.
Right.
And that's what we're doing. So that's where we're at. Curing your own hams and bacons. And there's so much out there information-wise that you need to know on that, and recipes and techniques that I can't sit and explain it all. But
Right.
I'll give you the heads up to start, and we'll go from there.
Okay.
What everybody's going to probably know this term, and this was Morton's Tender Quick. If you've ever even researched it a little bit, Morton Salt Company come out with a premix for curing meats.
Okay.
And what it is, it's not just salt. It is potassium nitrate that has saltpeter. That's what
Okay.
When you hear the word saltpeter, that's what that is. Saltpeter is in a natural state, has some other stuff in it, but that's what main ingredient is the potassium
Okay.
nitrate. And that's not what cures your meat and prevents bacteria from growing. What it does is it chemically breaks down, combines with the meat, and forms nitric oxide. Now that gas in there is what kills off the bacteria
Okay.
and continues to. So that's what we're trying to do, is turn the potassium nitrate or the potassium nitrite prog powder number 1 or number 2. And we'll talk more about prog powder in a minute. But
Okay.
you have to give that time enough to work.
Mm-hmm.
And here's a little safety tip for you here. If you are making sausage and you've put this Morton Tender Quick, or you've made your own Tender Quick mix seasonings, and you go, well, I want to see if I got it seasoned enough. So you pull off some of the raw meats, raw sausage, and you make you a little patty, and you float it in the frying pan
Mm-hmm.
to taste it for, is it a good recipe? That's a mistake.
Okay.
Because that raw meat has not had a chance to cure.
Okay.
It has not had a chance to kill that bacteria. Secondly, it has not had a chance to take that potassium nitrate and turn it into nitric oxide. What happens is you now have potassium nitrate in your stomach.
Mm-hmm.
It turns to nitrosamine in your stomach, which is a cancerous causing
Wow.
agent that will cause colon cancer, stomach cancers. So you should not do this. The smart thing to do would be, if you don't know if your recipe is good enough, it's not the family recipe, you're just getting started, just don't put the potassium nitrate in there yet. Reserve it until after you do the taste test.
Okay.
The taste is still going to be there, but you just don't want that preservative that's in there while you're doing a taste test. So make up your spices, do a fry test, go, wow, that's a good batch, then add your preservatives.
Okay.
Okay? So, but if you're using the Morton Tender Quick, you can't do that because
Okay.
it's got all the spices and things in it already. So you're going to have to do something different. I suggest that you probably get a tried and true, or you wait until it has a chance to cure itself.
Mm-hmm.
Now, prog powder number 1, and this is how you remember these two, which is which. 2 is bigger than 1. So prog powder number 1 is for short-term storage of meats.
Mm-hmm.
Number 2 is for long-term storage of meat. So 1 is for 1 day, 2 is for 2 days. That's not true. It's 2 to 3 months or 1 month.
Okay.
You should really let the meat sit for a while, so that nitrate can work all the way through it, turn itself into nitric oxide.
Mm-hmm.
Then when you go to cook it, everything is okay.
So, quick question. Like when the Pilgrims came over,
Right.
they prepared their meats to last, a journey to get here. They used a similar process. Of course, they didn't go down to they went down to a store probably or a farm to pick up this kind of product. Is that
Well, they've known about saltpeter for a long time.
right?
The Chinese had saltpeter 5,000 years ago.
Really well.
They also had gunpowder that long, too.
Wow.
And that was an essential thing. I don't know how they made the jump from gunpowder to bacon, but okay. But they used salt.
Right.
They used a dry pack method where they actually packed barrels full of fish, meats, and that's how they kept it.
Okay.
It kept it going. The other thing they had was citric acid from limes, lemons. That was big. And the interesting thing is citric acid speeds up the nitric oxide process.
Oh, really?
They call it instant cure. So you take citric acid and put it in with your mix, and it'll immediately start the curing process.
Wow. Okay.
But you got to be careful and all that kind of stuff. And I want you to read the directions. I don't want to make nobody sick. So
Right.
do your own research here. Just
Yeah.
write these things down. I'm telling you, research them again. That way you'll have a record of it and you'll have it on hand when you go to do these things. So they had the ability to preserve meat for a long time.
And they didn't have refrigeration hadn't been invented
Right,
yet.
and there was a need for it. So making up these sausages and things that you're going to make, you can go online, find recipes, use Morton's Tender Quick, or get Granny's cookbook out, and in the back have something on preserving meats because we all did it. But you're going to have to do a little more digging than that. Be more involved in that. There's no farmer out there that wouldn't like a little help when it comes butcher day, and he will more than likely have a recipe for you.
Right.
He'll more than likely go, here, try my sausage and see what you think. Now you can also make these summer bolognas and summer sausages and things like that. We're making some right now. The deer bologna, sausage, same thing, just different meats, same process. We just pulled a batch out yesterday, and it turned out really good. We made Lebanon bologna,
Okay.
which is an old Dutch recipe from
Lebanon, Pennsylvania?
Out of Pennsylvania,
Yeah.
that come through my family.
My dad was half Pennsylvania Dutch.
Is that right?
Yeah.
And we have a lot of the Amish around here, and they still make it the same exact way, They make it in much larger quantities. We make them in 2-pound sticks, and they make them in 10-pound sticks, which is pretty cool. But we make them in a 2-inch stick, and they're about 12 inches long, and it's a real good lunch meat. I don't know if anybody's bought lunch meat lately, but boy, it's not cheap anymore.
No.
It's extremely expensive. That's because it takes a lot of time to make it.
Ironic, too, that because we're heading into the holiday season, we get those cheese and cracker packs that have this kind of sausage that will last for, maybe a month or two. It's just interesting that as a kid, I would walk through the grocery store and think, why are some in the refrigerator? I never thought to ask, but why are some behind the glass in the refrigeration, and then some are just open on the shelves? They're not open, but they're on the shelves, and they're not being, cooled or anything.
Right.
And just,
Well, they remove the active water for the bacteria. If you remove, and it's about 40% by weight, start out with 100 pounds of ham. By the time it's dried out and cured, you're down to about 60 pounds of ham. So,
Okay.
So you can see that it'll drop off that much.
Right.
And when you remove that water, there's nothing for the bacteria to grow on. It needs water,
right.
with the exception of botulism. And that's the one everybody should be scared of.
Sure.
But don't be freaked out over it.
Right.
Things that are low oxygen environment, and that's a sausage because you're putting it into a casing. That should be done with prog powder number 2.
Okay.
That's that long term where it changes the nitrites into a nitrate, then turns it into the nitric acid. Takes a little longer. You can speed that process up, and that may be as much as 2 months. You can speed that process up with an accelerator like citric acid. There's commercial varieties of that too, synthetically made. So you can do all these things. Capicola, you know what that is? That's the neck roast. That's a high dollar item.
Is it? Wow.
Yeah, they wrap it up, and it may take as long as 18 months to achieve that.
Wow.
Now, if you're going to get into making things like that, and prosciutto hams, that kind of thing, those are not eaten like a steak. You don't cut a big slab off of those. those were always shaved really thin
Okay.
because they are a higher salt content. But when you go to eat it, because it's cut so thin, it almost melts in your mouth.
Right. Yeah.
And the little fat particles that you see in there,
Yes.
most people go, fat. But those little fat pieces in that meat will be almost buttery.
Yeah.
Now, if
I've
you-
noticed that now that you say that. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
We're talking about foodie stuff here. Yeah.
Sure.
Well, it'd be nice to have a little, what do they call it? Not convenience food, but to make you feel better food.
Oh, comfort food. Yeah.
Comfort food.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
couldn't think of the word right off. Mm-hmm. Comfort food. Now, if you've ever bought any of this stuff, it may be comfortable for a while till you get the bill for it. And you may pay $35, $40
Yeah. Yeah. I can
a
believe that.
pound.
Yeah.
Wow. And you're telling me I can make that stuff? Absolutely you can. Salamis.
Yeah.
People making hams and things may see mold on their ham
Okay.
or their salamis.
Right.
Would you freak out over that? Most people would. It's a natural occurring thing.
Okay.
If you get online and start going through some of these podcasts, and there are some really good people out there doing this stuff, you actually want that mold.
Okay.
Believe it or not.
Interesting.
Because there's certain molds that it doesn't hurt your body.
Okay.
And it's an accept, your body will accept it because it's a fermentation process.
Okay. Yeah.
So you'll see fermented meats, and first thing comes to your mind is throw it out,
Yeah.
but not in this case.
Okay.
But you can actually paint these salami sticks as soon as you're done making them to promote that mold.
Okay.
And that mold is actually what's protecting that meat
Okay.
because it overpopulates the surface of that meat and doesn't allow bad bacteria to come in.
To get in. Okay.
Right. So
Okay.
you'll learn about all this stuff coming up when you really start researching, and you better, because this is your food supply,
Right.
how to do it right. Now you can actually purchase that mold spores, and a little small packet will do a lot of meat.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So
Because it
it's not-
sort of recreates itself or
well,
whatever.
the spores are like little dried seeds, so they store very well, and it looks like a little packet of yeast is what it looks like.
I
Put
see.
it in a little warm water with a little sugar, and you just paint it on. Next thing you know, there's this beautiful white mold all over it. Now I'm not talking about green hairy mold here,
Right.
So, and you can give it the sniff test. This mold that I'm talking about is not going to make you gag when you smell it.
Right.
Some, if you got mold on a piece of meat and you reach down and you smell it to give it the sniff test,
Yeah.
you go, whoa, that's
Yeah.
got to go.
Yeah. They'll turn.
Okay, well, that's where we're at here.
Okay.
And that's what we're talking about. So you need to, if you're going to try to do the little fancier things, and it's not so much fancy as just variety. I mean, we can live off beans and rice, but man, there better be some spices in there somewhere.
Right.
Something different.
Yeah. Sure.
You can also use all these cured meats for seasonings. I mean, who hasn't heard about fat back in a bowl of beans,
Right,
or
right.
whatever? But you can use all this stuff as seasonings. You can grind it up and put it in your soups. You can cut a few little thin slices, put it in a stew, and it's a different flavor.
Yeah.
And it's surprising the taste you get out of it. Then we talk about smoking. Smoking meats, everybody thinks that's how you cure your meats, but it's not.
Okay.
It's only the beginning or an additive to it. It does a couple things. Changes the pH
Okay.
because the smoke has a slightly acidic component to it.
Okay.
So it changes the pH on the surface, which prevents bad bacteria from getting in.
Okay.
But it's only the beginning. You can't count on the smoke being your only protectorant. Secondly, the cold smoke will dry the meat out a little bit, remove some of that moisture on the surface of the meat.
Okay.
And it imparts that flavor. Everybody's heard hickory smoked bacon,
Yeah.
or mesquite. all
Yeah,
those
mesquite,
things.
yeah.
You got to watch on which ones you use. You wouldn't want to use pine. Pine will make it taste like turpentine.
'Cause-
yeah.
Is it because of the sap or?
Yes, it just has a different sap in it that has a different smell and taste
Okay.
when you smoke it like that.
Right.
Now, cold smoke is going to be around 90 to 100 degrees,
Okay.
and that's it. You really don't want to cook the meat. You're just trying to impart that flavor, start the curing process. The curing would be from the salt that dries it out, gets rid of the active water, and you will hear it referred to as the AW, active water.
Okay.
So when you see AW, that's what they're talking about. So you smoke your bacon, you smoke your hams, and that's the beginning of the curing. Now, hams, because they're fairly large, may take as long as 18 months to actually cure because it's got to go all the way through it.
Yeah.
We have, in fact, I still have my parents' butcher needles, and you would inject around the bone because
Okay.
the hams are big.
Right.
It would take a long time for the salt to go all the way through because it's so thick. So they would inject some of that solution around that bone so to make sure that everywhere got some of this curing agent into
Okay.
it, the salt and the potassium nitrate. The bone marrow inside will turn rancid also because it's kind of got a fatty component to it. So if you're going to do that, and here's a little quick tip, is to dig down about an inch down into that bone of a ham and pack it full of red pepper.
Oh, okay.
What's the red pepper for?
It has a
Keep-
dual purpose.
Yes.
A little bit of taste,
A little
but it kills-
little heat, but
Yeah.
it's to keep the bugs out.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
There's a it's called bone beetles.
Interesting.
And bone beetles, if you have the old timey log smokehouse or whatever, I don't
Yeah.
care where it's at. If you have this ham hanging up curing, bugs are everywhere. 600 billion species of bugs. It's highly possible one of them's going to visit you. But that prevents him from going in. He don't
Yeah.
like it. He said, "Whoa, too hot."
Right.
They're not Mexican bone beetles. They can't handle the heat.
Right.
Okay, so and the same way on the outside of the ham, they would coat it in black pepper and salt.
Okay.
The salt will cause it to burn their little feet. The black pepper will burn their little feet, and they don't like it. So when you cure this ham, they would wrap it up after it's been cured, and we're talking about for storage.
Yeah.
Wrap it in paper, and they would put it in a muslin bag. Some people would put it in a pillowcase.
Okay.
And tie it up, and put it in a cool place, cool, dry place.
Interesting.
And that's how they cured their hams. But-
Okay.
so there's all these techniques to doing this stuff, and you have to know it because you have to be safe. This is meat. This is not,
Yep.
your potatoes that you just put in a bin and say, okay, I've stored potatoes for the year. Pretty easy to do that way.
Right.
This is meat, and cleanliness is a big deal.
Okay.
Safety is going to be a big deal.
All right.
And that's about all I have on hams.
Okay. All right. Well, that's good. Well, Glenn, if people have a question for you or they say, hey, Glenn, can you tackle this topic? What's the best way to get a hold of you?
Oh, just give me a shout on Sustainable Living Made Easy on Facebook and shoot me a question, make a comment.
Okay.
If you just want to talk about, hey, I've heard this, how can I do this? What do you think?
Right.
Be glad to talk to you.
Okay. Or you can text us too here at the radio station, 434-248-0704. That's 434-248-0704. Glenn, thank you.
Thank you.
Join us again next week for Sustainable Living with Glenn Boblitz, helping you be prepared and not scared. This podcast drops every Friday anywhere you get your podcast.